This is the original Trump the Game, released in 1989 to coincide with his 1987 book, The Art of the Deal. He personally endorsed it and even held a lavish unveiling in Trump Tower. Remember, it's not whether you win or lose, but whether you win. Here it is, folks, Trump the Game. Here's the layout. We've got all the properties on their respective spots. Each property opens up like that, and they all start with $50 million. Now, they've made these so you can actually put the lid on there and then slide the money in like so. So it's secretive. So they all have $50 million inside them right now. And the players all start on the first space called Start. Take your T for Trump and put it right there. Got your dice. $400 million per player plus 5 cards is how we begin. So we're all here. First thing you're going to do, player 1, I'm going to grab a Trump card here from the pile. It says if you own the airline, collect profits of 20 million times a die roll. That will be important later. And then you get to do either of the following. You either roll the die and move around the game board, or play a card from my hand and do what it says. Okay? So let's just roll, see what happens. Walking around Trump Tower here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add $30 million to any unowned property and take another Trump card. So we take $30 million. Really, we're just beefing up these properties. In this case, I like the office building. I'm generic. I want to go for that. I already know there's 50 in there. Now there's 80. So $80 million. I know that one is nice and plump and ready to be plucked. Take another Trump card. Bam. Convention Center. Now what I want to do, what I should be doing is plumping up the cards that I have, because if I own it, I can play this and make a lot of money off of it. In that case, that's the end of my turn. So let's say we've gone around and now it's my turn again. Now, instead of rolling this time, I'm actually going to play a card. I'm going to play, you may force the sale of any property. So I'm going to play that, after I draw a card, of course. Draw a card at the top of your turn. I'm going to play a card instead of rolling that says you may force the sale of any property. I'm going to force the sale of the office building. Okay? So now, this goes into the center, which is going to be what we're going to be bidding on, and this is the bidding, the buying phase and bidding phase of the game. So an opening bid is made. I take a secret amount from my hand that I want to offer for an open bid. I'm going to go ahead and start with 200 million. That seems reasonable. And we all put them down on the table. Then the bidding continues clockwise in turn order. You try to be the highest bidder, and you have to increase your bid by at least $10 million each turn. There are also cards that allow you to bump that up to 60 million. You get an outside investor. So 60 million bids can now be increased. So if I played that, for example, I can now add more than 10 million per turn while I'm going around to try to outbid the other players. Now let's say I win. My money goes to the bank. Also during the bidding, you can knock people out of the bidding. This is actually one of the coolest parts of the game. You're out of the bidding. And then there's actually a card that says, I'm back in the bidding. So it goes around like that. Anyway, if I get the property, I have to show publicly how much money is in here. So I would say, okay, look, there's $80 million in here. And once you do that, you don't ever have to show that again. That sits right here. And the player with the most money wins. So we go around the board, we collect all of these. These all come off the board. Then the board is done, and part 2 starts, which is the dealing phase. This is kind of unique as well. You play the cards in your hand to make money and make deals to acquire even more money. So on your turn, you're going to do either play a card from your hand. So example, if I had the sports complex, and I played, if I own the sports complex, get a profit of 20 million times a die roll. So obviously I'd roll a die. 20 million times 1, so 20 million, so I'd make $20 million because I own it. And then we go to the next person. And the other thing you can do on your turn during the dealing phase is make a deal using cards, cash, or property. You can offer a deal to any player with the goal of making an honest profit. And the third thing you can do is pass. The deal making is interesting because you can practically make any type of deal imaginable. It could be as simple or as complicated as you want. You can sell, you can loan, you can trade, buying, borrowing properties or cards. This is the wheeling dealing Trumpian aspect of the game. So how does Trump compare to Monopoly? Trump himself said, "It's much more sophisticated than Monopoly, which I've played all my life." But is it? Not really. I mean, it's actually a simplified, and this is important, shorter version of Monopoly. So a plus for Trump is that it's a finite runtime, unlike Monopoly, which can go on all night. Also, it's pretty easy to learn. You buy up the properties, then you deal to make the most money. It's 2 phases, and that's it. Another plus is the properties themselves have some cool retro artwork. They look like travel posters from the 60s. On the minuses, I didn't find this game particularly fun. It's probably because of the theme. I'm not a big Monopoly guy, and this is eerily similar. I think this game's more of a collector's item now, rather than something you'd pull off your shelf and play. I guess if you're buying something called Trump the Game, you should expect to be inundated with Trumpian imagery. And you've got plenty of that here. You've got Trump on the box. Trump is on the rules. Trump is on the money. Trump is on the board. Trump is on the cards. You've even got little plastic tees as playing pieces. Trump. But even if that was all stripped away, it's still only mildly entertaining, in my opinion. There are better options out there. My name is Brooks, Board Game Cavern. Thank you for joining us, and please subscribe. Cavern.